Okay, picture this. You're in a race. But it's not just, against colleagues or competitors. It feels like you're racing against this idea of who you should be. The finish line just keeps moving, doesn't it? A bigger title, more money, that perfect-looking life online. And it feels like this sprint, it just never stops. Even off the clock, there's that little voice. They're like, are you doing enough? Are you falling behind? Are you first? Honestly, it's exhausting.
It really is, and that's the core of what we're diving into today, this, what you might call the modern myth of success, this pervasive idea that being number one, that standing on that podium is the ultimate source of, well, real happiness, lasting fulfillment. But, experience and research, they both tell a pretty different story, actually. Often the opposite is true.
Right. You're talking about that feeling, that, let down. You grind for years, maybe a decade for that one big thing, the IPO, the partnership, whatever it is.
Right.
And then the day after you get it, you expect fireworks, right?
But instead it's just quiet.
I
Or
know.
even this weird kind of hollow feeling.
Yeah.
Precisely. That's what some psychologists call success depression or the arrival fallacy. It makes perfect sense neurochemically, too. See, the brain rewards the chase with the dopamine. That feels good, that's thriving. But the actual win, that's more of a fleeting serotonin thing. So you chase it, you catch it, and boom, the system resets, it needs the next chase. The goal itself was almost just a distraction from how you felt inside all along.
Okay, hold on. Let's unpack that for everyone listening. We're definitely not saying don't be ambitious. We need ambitious people who want to build things, solve problems. So how do we tell the difference between that frantic, almost desperate kind of chase, and a drive that's actually healthy, that sustains you?
That's the crucial question. And the answer lies in looking really closely at the intention. Why are you striving in the first place? Ancient wisdom actually gives us a great way to think about this. It distinguishes between two fundamental kinds of desire. The first one is touch. Think of it as thirst, craving, this relentless clinging. It's that urge to be first because you feel like something's missing inside. It's fueled by comparing yourself to others, this nagging belief that if only I get that, then I'll finally be okay. And ultimately, that kind of desire, it just leads to more suffering. It binds you.
Okay, that sounds disturbingly familiar. Like maybe some business is built just to crush the competition or make a fast buck, sometimes leaving a mess behind. But wait, let me push back a bit here. In today's market, it's hyper-competitive. Don't you need some external drive? If I stop looking what others are doing, won't I just fall behind? Especially in fast-moving fields.
That's a really important point because the goal isn't to become passive or apathetic. Not at all. The aim is wise action. And that brings us to the second type of desire, chanda. This is different. It's more like wise intention or positive will. Chanda motivates you towards growth, but it comes from a place of clarity, maybe even compassion or curiosity. It's the desire to genuinely create something excellent or to truly help someone, not just to beat the person next to you.
Ah, okay. So it's about the fuel source. One person starts a company driven by ton, maybe fear, insecurity, needing to prove something, while another starts one driven by chanda, like genuine excitement about the idea or wanting to offer real value.
Exactly. And the impact is huge. When you're only chasing external rewards, the status, the money, the corner office, you're often running on the brain's threat system. Stress, anxiety, that actually hampers creativity, long-term thinking, you're just reacting. But when your motivation is intrinsic, rooted in chanda, research shows you get deeper satisfaction. You're more creative, more resilient. Why? Because the reward is baked into the doing itself. So maybe a challenge for you listening right now. What's the real emotional price tag of always needing to be out front?
That's a heavy question. And okay, say we recognize that cost. How do we actually change course? Because let's be real, status and recognition are everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't just unsubscribe from society.
No, you can't just opt out. And that's where we need a strategy, a radical one, actually. And that's mindfulness. Say about. No, people often think mindfulness is just about, chilling out, relaxing. It can be relaxing, sure, but fundamentally, it's a radical act of waking up. Waking up to the reality that maybe you're running incredibly hard, but just in circles. Mistaking the treadmill for the actual path forward.
So it's about being present enough to notice the extra baggage you're carrying, like the judgments, the fears, even while you're outwardly succeeding.
That is precisely it. There's that classic Zen story, the two monks at the river. They reach a muddy riverbank, and there's a beautiful woman who needs help crossing. The older monk, breaking their strict rules about touching women, just picks her up and carries her across, sets her down gently. The younger monk is absolutely fuming inside, silent, but just boiling over this transgression. Hours pass, miles down the road, the younger monk finally can't take it anymore and explodes. How could you violate our vows like that? And the older monk just looks at him calmly and says, "Brother, I set her down by the river hours ago. Why are you still carrying her?"
Wow. Okay, so the real burden wasn't the woman, or even breaking the rule. It was the judgment, the attachment to being right, the comparison. The younger monk was still running that internal race of being the perfect monk long after the event was over.
That judgment, that clinging to how things should be, that's the weight of Tansha. Mindfulness acts like that inner older monk. It doesn't say abandon your goals, even the high stakes ones. It says pursue them with clarity, with integrity, not out of desperation. Think about a CEO taking just 5 minutes to center themselves before a huge board meeting. They're not avoiding the pressure. They're grounding their decisions in that clear, wise intention that Chanda, instead of reacting out of fear, the fear of falling behind, of losing.
That clarity, it feels like the first casualty of hustle culture, doesn't it?
Uh-huh.
We've somehow made exhaustion a status symbol. Brain out is like a badge of honor. People brag about how busy they are, how little sleep they got. It proves they're important, right? But I keep thinking, what good is winning? What good is that trophy if you're so depleted your hands are literally shaking too much to even hold it?
You've just perfectly described why we need Samaviyama. Right effort. It's a cornerstone of living mindfully. And the teaching is really clear on this. The goal isn't simply working harder. It's about working wisely. It means consciously choosing to cultivate what's helpful, focus, kindness, insight, and letting go of what's not, that constant anxiety, the comparing, the obsession. And this is key, doing it without being rigidly attached to the outcome. It's effort, guided by awareness, not driven by anxiety.
I get that intellectually, but I can hear some listeners thinking, right effort sounds a bit soft, like an excuse for not pushing hard enough in a world that demands results. How do you square that internal wisdom with, the very real external pressures?
It's about shifting the focus from the finish line to the quality of the steps you take. It's mastery over mere sprinting. There's this powerful image, maybe apocryphal, of a monk high in the Himalayas. He supposedly spent 20 years just quietly, patiently carving this incredibly intricate shrine into a cliff face. No announcements, no deadlines, no seeking fame, just the work. And when someone finally asked him why he didn't hurry or get help or promote it, his answer was something like, "The shrine isn't ultimately in the stone, it's in the hand that carves it."
Oh.
That changes everything. Success isn't just the final product, the unveiling. It's embedded in the quality of attention, the intention you bring to the process itself. Every single day. That's mastery, precisely. And that leads us straight to another crucial concept, satana, which means intention or volition. There's a famous teaching. Intention is what I call karma. What this suggests is that the real significance, the real weight of any action, isn't just its outward result. It's deeply connected to the inner state, the quality of mind from which it arises. That intention is like the secret engine driving sustainable effort or unsustainable effort.
Okay, let's go back to those two business owners. Imagine person A starts their company from, say, a place of deep insecurity, needing to prove their father wrong or show up a rival. That's the fuel. Person B starts a similar company, but their drive comes from genuine curiosity, a desire to serve a need they see, something aligned with their values. Now, externally, maybe they both look successful for a while, they might even hit similar milestones. But when the inevitable challenges hit the market downturn, the personal crisis who's got the inner resources to navigate that storm without completely falling apart or burning out, has to be person B, right?
The difference in sustainability is huge. If your why, your satana, comes from a place of feeling basically whole from chanda, the work itself can actually be nourishing, energizing. The fuel source is internal. But if it comes from a place of lack, of tanha, of needing external validation, you're constantly draining your battery, chasing something outside yourself that can never truly fill that inner void. And, to really bring ambition and peace together, we have to tackle the big taboo, failure. In that frantic race to be first, failure feels like death. It defines you. It's shameful. But on this path of mindful success, failure isn't who you are. It's just data, information, something to learn from.
That's a massive shift. I mean, even the Buddha, in his quest, failed multiple times, didn't he? He tried extreme fasting, harsh ascetic practices. None of it worked. He only found the middle way because he learned from those dead ends. And think about modern examples like James Dyson. Over 5,000 prototypes for his vacuum cleaner. What if we stopped calling those failures and started seeing them as, 5,000 necessary acts of courageous inquiry?
Exactly. That ability to face disappointment, to experience a setback without letting it crush your sense of self-worth, that's the bedrock of resilience. It's how innovation actually happens. It requires self-compassion, the kindness to say, okay, that didn't work. What did I learn? Let's try again. Not, I'm a failure.
This whole conversation It feels like it gives us permission to redefine first
Mm.
entirely. Maybe it's not about being first compared to others. Maybe it's about the quality of your own presence. Like being first in paying attention, first in showing kindness, especially to yourself, first in just coming back to your breath when everything around you is screaming, faster, more. That internal shift feels like the real win.
That's beautifully put. It captures the essence of integrated success. The classic analogy here is the lotus flower. Think about it. The lotus needs the mud to grow. That's the messy reality, the ambition, the projects, the challenges of the world. You don't float above it all. But then it blossoms pure, clean, radiant above the muddy water. It's engaged with the world, but not stained or consumed by it. True freedom isn't escaping life. It's engaging fully, ambitiously, but without being caught in the desperate clinging of the race.
And where does this reframing maybe have the most power? Perhaps in the area we often sacrifice first when we're chasing success, our relationships. That simple act, putting down the phone, making eye contact, really listening to someone without planning your response, that feels almost revolutionary today. It's a profound act of presence.
It absolutely is. It communicates this moment right here with you is more important than whatever else is pulling at my attention.
Mhm.
That kind of presence builds trust, deep connection. And that is the real currency, isn't it? That's the wealth that no amount of external success, no first place trophy can ever truly buy.
So wrapping this up, the core insight we've explored today seems to be this. Success isn't really a destination you reach by outrunning everyone else. It's much more about how you travel. It's a way of moving through life that's mindful, ethical, and, well, awake.
The quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. That's it. The greatest achievement isn't winning some race defined by external pleasures. It's remembering your own why. Why did you start running or creating or striving in the first place? Finding that true north again.
And so as we close this deep dive, maybe just take a moment. Notice, where are you still running, primarily just to prove something, to prove your worth? Where might that craving, that tada, be hiding, disguised as healthy ambition in your life?
And then ask yourself this. Really sit with it. What if your deepest, most fulfilling success looks absolutely nothing like the picture you've been chasing? What if it's quieter, more grounded, maybe less flashy, but infinitely more satisfying? Perhaps the most radical, revolutionary act in a world screaming, "Be first," is simply to be fully here, freely present, awake, because that's where real success, the kind that lasts, truly begins.